to another edition of Almost Martha. And today, I have 2 shoe boxes sitting in front of me. There are actually 3 in total. And these shoe boxes are filled with some wondrous things. These are recipes that my mother has been collecting all through the years. Mom's cranberry salad relish in her handwriting, handwritten. Oh, that's so funny. This one's from me, Laura's egg casserole. And just some really amazing recipes in here. Oh, her Christmas party punch. She was famous for this. Serves 50. So hold on. You got a big party coming up. But this is it's just amazing and wonderful. And I love it so much. And Mom, I'm going to think about you every time I open one up. And sorry. Oh, and you know why? These are boxes of love. That's what they are. They are boxes of love. And I know everyone has somebody in their past that collected recipes like this, tore them out of magazines. I think there's a lot of those in here, just torn right out of a magazine or picked up in the grocery store. Notes on there like good and always make it Easter and, all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a real walk down memory lane, and it's going to be fabulous, and I'm going to share it with you. And I know some of these recipes very well, and they are very good. Very good. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for this gift. I will treasure it always, always. And I'm going to start tomorrow with this right here, slow cooked short ribs. It's made in a crock pot, which is what I need for tomorrow. I need something that can cook all day and be ready for that evening. And it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, the picture looks good. And she wrote up at the top in her handwriting, crock pot, crock pot. There's a little grease stain, so you know she made it. So this is going to be really good, and this is really going to come in handy. And we are going to make it together. I look forward to sharing, a lot of these recipes with you. And they are wonderful. I know them well. So hang on, and we're going to start making slow cooked short ribs together. And we will have a big food journey together as I comb through these shoe boxes and find some of my favorites. I hope they'll be your favorites too. So thanks again, Mom. And hold on, and we'll get started on some slow cooked short ribs. Okay, here we go. Well, it called for 4 pounds of short ribs, 4.5. So I told the butcher 4.5, and he gave me almost 5. So we'll see if my flour mixture is gonna hold up. I'm also gonna trim this a little bit. He already trimmed some fat off, but I'm gonna go a little more on some of these. They look good. Fat and short ribs, it goes together, right? Like peanut butter and jelly. But some of these have a little more fat than the rest. They all have fat, so it'll be nice and delicious, but we want to make sure it's not too fatty. So I also put together a little mixture, 2/3 cup of flour and 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground pepper, and we are going to coat these ribs in that. Now it does this little recipe doesn't say to salt the ribs. It put it right in the flour mixture, so I guess we're gonna go with that, because it was in the box. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so that's pretty good. So here's my flour, salt, pepper mixture. Let me just stir this a little bit before I put it in the bag here. So this kind of reminds me of shake and bake. Had a theater company for a while, and we did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer at Christmas, and we did vintage 1960 commercials, and one of them was shake and bake, and I helped. For those of you that remember that far back, but it's a great vintage commercial. You can see it on YouTube. So, all right, I'm going to put a couple ribs in here. I'm going to shake them, but I'm not going to bake them. I am going to fry these in some butter because we want these to be nice and browned. Nice and browned. Okay, there we go. So I have a lot of ribs here. This is going to take a minute. Actually, it's really pretty quick, I gotta say. This is a pretty efficient way of doing it. So my hat's off to that recipe, wherever it came from, outside of Mom. All right. So I'm going to finish these up, and then I'll just meet you over by the stove, and we'll brown these babies up. Okay, we have that really worked great. Putting them in that bag like that, man, that really worked out well. Look at that, perfectly done. So that's tremendous. So now I'm going to brown these. I don't want to crowd my pan. So this will take a few batches, which is one reason why I want to do it tonight, because tomorrow I'm going to take my already browned short ribs out of the refrigerator, let them come to room temp. I'm going to pour the sauce on them, and that's it. I'll be done. So I'm going to brown these, and once they're browned, I'm just going to put them right in my crock pot bowl, and then I'll cover it up, and it'll be ready to go tomorrow. So I'll show you some of these after they've browned. All right, nicely browned short ribs. I'm just stacking them up in this pan. There's one more thing that we have to do. And they want you to put the onions and stuff in here. I'm a little worried about that because there's a lot of really brown flour in there that I'm afraid will be a little too brown. Might taste a little burned. So I'm gonna try to get some of those out of there. So I'm on my last little short rib browning. Got a paper towel. I have a little more butter just in case. Okay, go. And really, it's just some of them that are really too brown, I think. So, okay, there we go. Nice and brown. Man, that's a pile of short ribs right there. So, I'm going to try to do something a little different. I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to try to get those super dark breadcrumbs out of there. Okay, that's good. So there's still some in there. I'm going to replace some butter because we have a few other things that we have to put in here. So I took one large onion and I chopped that onion, and that we're going to add right in the same pan. Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe I should have used my Dutch oven. Yeah, we'll see. So here are all my onions. I'm going to let those cook just a little bit. I think that's plenty of butter. So now I got my own grease stain on here. Okay. So 1.5 cups beef broth.
and 3/4 cup cider or red wine vinegar. So because we're making sort of a barbecue saucy thing, I'm going to use apple cider vinegar. But first I'm going to let these onions cook just a little bit. And 3/4 cup packed brown sugar, which I have. And then we have just a few more things. So we'll let those onions cook for just a minute, and then we'll start assembling the sauce that we'll bring to a boil. I'm not going to pour it on my short ribs tonight, though. I'm going to put it in something else and put it away. Okay, our onions are looking good. So I'm going to really cross my fingers. This dish is going to be big enough. So it's 1.5 cups of beef stock, 3/4 cups of apple cider vinegar, and I have 3/4 cup of brown sugar, but I'm not going to just dump it in. I'm going to just sort of sprinkle it in so there's no big clumps of sugar. Okay, great. I'm going to wash my hands. I'll be back. Okay, then it calls for 1/2 cup of chili sauce, which I have right here, and 1/3 cup of ketchup, 1/3 cup Worcestershire sauce, 5 garlic cloves. I am not going to put the garlic in there because I know my mama, she would not have put it in there. No garlic. No garlic. You can if you want to. And then 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. So I have my chili powder right here. Just going to sprinkle that right in. And boy, I've used a lot of measuring cups, so I'm going to get my little chili sauce right in here. It looks like I'm going to have plenty of room. There we go. I'm going to dump that right in. So it wants you to bring this sauce to a boil. I mean, what you're essentially making here is barbecue sauce. So that's my chili sauce. And I need 1/3 cup of ketchup because why not? Why not? There we go. Put that right in. And it calls for a lot of Worcestershire sauce. I hear that there's like a shortage of Worcestershire right now. So I think I have enough. It's about 1/3 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Glug, glug, glug. Okay. I'm gonna call my mom later. I'm gonna say, "Do you remember making this? Do you remember this recipe?" And we'll see. Okay. So right now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Get it nice and hot. Then I'm going to turn it off because I think we're really just melting the sugar. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to cool it down and I'm going to put it in a jar and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. And I'm going to cover up my short ribs. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator overnight. So tomorrow morning before I leave, I'll take them both out and I'll hook up my crock pot and I'll just let it cruise until dinner time. So I think that's a really good plan. It's a really good plan. So once this comes to a boil, I'm just going to turn it off and then I'll heat it back up tomorrow morning. It would take a crock pot a long time to heat up all of this mixture to a really hot temperature. So we're going to help it out. I'm going to reheat this tomorrow morning and then pour it on top of the short ribs and we'll be ready to go. I'll see you later. Good morning, everyone. So I took out the short ribs from the refrigerator and they've been sitting out for about half an hour. So I'm going to turn on my trusty crock pot, and I'm reheating that barbecue sauce that we made last night. I just want it to be nice and hot when I put it in the crock pot. So I'm going to be gone all day, and when I come back, I'll probably turn these ribs over once or sort of adjust them for the final hour or two of cooking. And now I'm getting that sauce nice and hot. There we go. Little bubbles coming up, so I think it's all ready to go. So in it goes. And I'm gonna pour it. Woo! I didn't put my apron on. Hold on, everybody. It splashed just a little bit, but it really sort of filled the crock pot up, which is fantastic. I'm just gonna make sure everything has a little opportunity to get sauced, and then when I come back, I will rearrange it just to make sure everything gets a really good coating. So that's it. I'm gonna set it, forget it, and then we'll show you what happens later. Okay, moment of truth. So it was so easy because it was already in the crock pot. All I had to do was put it on the plate. I had time to make onion rings. Always makes everybody so happy. Okay, it was falling off the bone. Goodness. So I do have a bowl of bones over there as I was pulling these out. So here we go. That's no good. Totally kidding. It is so good. It is so good. Now, I have to tell you, I scooped out a lot of fat, so I skimmed fat off, and a pretty good amount of it. So you should do the same. So all you're really left was the good barbecue sauce and this delicious meat, because all of that fat sort of renders off. So you really just have some nice lean goodness. Oh my goodness. It is so good. You have to make it. Really easy. Thank you, Mom, for putting this in your shoebox. I appreciate it. I'll share the recipe with you, almost-martha.com. So go to my website. All of the recipes are there. You can download them. You can get them all super easy. almost-martha.com. And you're going to love it. So nice crock pot barbecue short ribs. Good. I'll see you next time because I'm going to go eat this like right now. Okay. Bye. Bye, Mom. Thank you. See you next time.